Okay, so today we're going to solve these problems. So today you're just going to give me the answers, okay? So you worked out number 15. Paula wants to buy 3 shirts and 2 belts. The shirts cost $16.89 each, and the belts cost $8.97 each. Paula has $45. Which of these amounts is the best estimate of how much more money Paula needs in order to buy these shirts and belts? Okay, so what we did is I worked it out with you yesterday. So on the video, 3 shirts for $16.89 each. So you're going to do 3 times $16.89. 2 belts for $8.97 each. So that's 2 times $8.97. You're going to solve it, and then you're going to total shirts and belts that you're going to subtract from 45. But before you solve it, you have to estimate. So what would you estimate 16 and 89 hundredths to be? So you would say 3 times 17, and then 2 times 9. And then you would take that total and subtract it, or add it together, sorry. You get the total of these two numbers, add your answer together, and then subtract that 45 from that amount. Okay? So what you should have done is 7 times 3 is 21. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. 9 times 2 is 18. So that's $51 for 3 shirts and $18 for 2 belts. That's $69 is how much she needed to spend, or needed, and she only had 45. So now we're going to find out about how much is different. So about 69 is going to be 70. 45 is going to be 50. So that's a difference of about $20. Okay, so your answer should have been 20. Okay, so a large bar of soap is 3 9/10 inches long. A small bar of soap is 2 3/8 inches long. What's the best estimate of the difference in lengths between the 2 bars of soap? Well, 3 9/10, 9 over 10 is closer to 1 whole, so that makes this 4. And 3 over 8, that's almost half, so that makes this 1/2. So 4 minus 2.5. Okay, so there's 2 ways you could have done this. You could have counted up and said 2.5 plus another half makes 3, plus 1 makes 4. Your answer is 1.5. Or you could have said, borrowed 1 from the 4, make it a 3. And then numerator and denominator are going to be the same. So 3, and then 2 over 2 is 1 whole. So that's still 4. And then subtract 2 minus 1 is 1. Denominator stays the 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1.5. Either way, your answer is 1.5. Okay. All right. Mr. Marquez had 123 eggs in the refrigerator. In his restaurant, he put 32 more cartons of eggs in the refrigerator. Each carton contained 18 eggs. Which of these is the best estimate of the number of eggs Mr. Marquez now has in his refrigerator? Okay, so it says estimate. So that means that's 120 eggs. And we're going to add 30 cartons. And there's going to be 20 eggs in each carton. So what we did was we made an order of operation problem. And it read just in order. 123 eggs, which we're going to estimate to be 120 in the refrigerator. He put 32 more cartons, which we estimated to be 30. And then each carton had 18 eggs, so we estimated that to be 20. So order of operation tells me we're going to multiply first. 3 times 2 is 6, so that's 600 eggs. And then we're going to bring down the 120. 120 plus 600, that is 720 eggs. Okay? All right. So on the next couple, I'm going to ask you to tell me your answer. So number 19. 3 peppers for 40 cents each. That's 3 peppers. This one's 40 cents. This one's 40 cents. And this one's 40 cents. So how would you solve that? What would you... We already know how to solve it. There's your equation. What would your answer be? Okay, 40 times 3, decimals in front of the 4. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 4 is 12. And then you have a decimal that has 2 numbers behind it. So in my answer, I need to place a decimal that has 2 numbers behind it. So it's going to go right there. 1 20 hundredths. That should have been your answer. Okay. Number 20, we already answered. We did that together. All right, 21. 4 tenths times 8 tenths, because it says the hundredths model in the figure is shaded to represent multiplying of 2 numbers. So we had a vertical and we have a horizontal. And where they meet is your answer. So 4 tenths times 8 tenths. Okay, 4 times 8 is 32. All right, and then there's a decimal with 1 number behind it, another decimal with 1 number behind it. So I need to take a decimal and I need to have 2 places behind it. So I'm going to go over 1, 2, and then place my decimal. Okay, 32 hundredths. That means there are 32 squares shaded out of the whole 100. 32 hundredths. Okay. Dion ran 3 7/75 kilometers each day to prepare for a race. What was the number of kilometers that Dion ran during 28 days? So 3 7/75 times 28. So what would your answer be? Okay, so it's 375 times 28. We're going to forget the decimal for a little bit, okay, until we solve it. 8 times 5 is 40. 7 times 8, 56, plus 4 is 60. 8 times 3, 24, plus 6, that's 30. All right, and then we're going to say tick, tack, O, because we need that placeholder, because we're multiplying by the tens place. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And then we add. Okay? Now we have a decimal with 2 numbers behind it. So I didn't do anything with that decimal until I finished. Okay, so now I'm going to go down to my answer. I need 2 places behind a decimal. And then, so that means the decimal is going to go right there. 105 miles, or kilometers, each day. Okay, next question. Mr. Nolan had paid $36.95 for each adult shirt, $23.95 for each youth shirt that he bought. Mr. Nolan bought 2 adult shirts and 5 youth shirts. How much money did he spend on these shirts? Okay, so this is very much like the first one. First thing we have to do is $36.95 times 2. Okay, and notice I didn't put the decimal till now. And then we're going to do $23.95 times 5. So we have to find out how much the adult shirts are and the youth shirts are. Okay, and then you're going to combine them. So what would your answer be? Okay, 5 times 2 is 10. 9 times 2 is 18, plus 1 is 19. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Okay, there's a decimal with 2 numbers behind it. So I'm going to go over 2 places and place the decimal. So $73.90 for adult shirts. Okay, 5 times 5 is 25. 9 times 5 is 45. Plus 2 makes it 47. 5 times 3 is 15. Plus 4 makes it 19. 5 times 2 is 10. Plus 1 makes it 11. I have a decimal with 2 numbers behind it. So I need to go down to my answer and put 2 numbers and then place the decimal. So he paid $73.90 for adult shirts and $119.75 for the youth shirts. And I want to know how much money he spent on all the shirts. So now we have to add $119.75. And when we're adding decimals, remember we line them up. We line up the place values and we line up the decimals. 5 plus 0 is 5. Okay, 9 plus 7 is 16. 9 plus 1 is 10. Plus 3 is 13. 7, 8, 9. And bring down the 1. And then make sure we bring down that decimal in the same spot. It needs to all be lined up. So he spent $193.65 on 2 adult shirts and 5 youth shirts. All right. What was your answer for number 24? Okay. The file size is 2 4/10 megabytes. And I want to know how many megabytes that is for 16 electronic books. Okay, so that's 24 times 16. Again, notice I didn't do anything with that decimal yet. Now I'm going to go in and put that decimal in because we don't line up decimals when we multiply. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 2 is 12. Plus 2 is 14. Tick, mark out what we carried. Tack, mark out the ones place. Oh, drop my 0 for my placeholder. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. And then we add. 4 plus 0 is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. 2 plus 1 is 3. All right. I have a decimal with only one number behind it. So I need to have one number and then the decimal. 38 4/10. Okay. All right. So let's look at number 25. 1 bucket of gravel has a mass of 7 5/500 kilograms. What is the mass of 20 buckets? So we said this is a multiplication problem. So what would you get when you solve that? Okay, so you should have rewritten it. 7.05 times 20. So 705 times 20. I know that 0 times all of these is going to be 0. So I'm just going to put my placeholder there. And all I have to do is multiply 705 times 2. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 0 is 0 plus 1. And 2 times 7 is 14. And then I have a decimal with 2 numbers behind it. So I'm going to go over 1 2 places. So my answer is 141. Or you could have said 141.00. Both of those are correct. Okay. All right. Number 27. Last week, Mrs. Foss worked 6 1/10 times as many hours as Mrs. Sutton. Miss Sutton worked 5 4/10 hours. How many hours did Mrs. Foss work? Well, we decided that if Miss Foss worked 6 1/10 hours and Miss Sutton worked 5 4/10 hours, it says Miss Foss worked 6.1 times as many. So you should multiply. Okay, so you should have solved it. Your answer, 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 6 is 24. Nothing to tick. Tack. O. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 6 is 30. And then we add. 4, 9, 2, 3. All right. Now, I have 2 decimals, 1 in each problem. So this decimal has 1 number behind it. This decimal has 1 number behind it. So that's a total of 2 place values. So in my answer, I need to go over 2 place values and place the decimal. So how many hours did Miss Foss work? She worked 32 9/94 hours. Okay. Nicole pays $45.75 every month for flute lessons. How much does Nicole pay for flute lessons for 4 months? Well, in this case, the word every is very much like the word each. She pays $45.75 each month. So your equation was 45 7/500 times 4. So what would your answer be? Okay, you should have said 4575 times 4. Place the decimal. 5 times 4 is 20. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 2 is 30. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 3 is 23. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 2 is 18. You have a decimal with 2 numbers behind it. So I'm going to go down to my answer, and I'm going to go over 2 places and put a decimal. So for 4 months, she's going to pay $183 for flute lessons. All right. Mr. Roosevelt has 48 nails that each weigh 1 3/500 ounces. What is the weight of these nails in ounces? Well, he has 48 nails, and each weigh 1 3/500 ounces. So 48 nails, each 135. We said that that was a multiplication problem. Okay, so what would you get for your answer when you solve this? Okay, you should have said 135 times 48. Okay, and then you put the decimal in. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 4 is 28. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 2 is 10. Tick, tack, O. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And then we add. Okay, I have 1 decimal with 2 numbers behind it. So I need to go to my answer and go over 2 places and place the decimal. So the weight of these nails in ounces is 64 80/100, or 64 8/10 ounces. All right. Mia's dog weighs 32 6/10 pounds. Letty's dog weighs 3 8/10 times as much as Mia's dog. What does Letty's dog weigh in pounds? So your equation is 32 6/10 times 3 8/10. What was your answer? $326 times 38. 6 times 8 is 48. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 4 is 20. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 2 is 26. Tick, so we marked out everything that we carried. Tack, we're going to mark out the ones place because we've already multiplied by it. And O, because now we're multiplying by the tens place. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. And 3 times 3 is 9. 8, 6 plus 7 is 13. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Okay. We have a decimal between the 2 and the 6, and a decimal between the 3 and the 8. So each problem has a decimal. That's 2 of them. And each one has 1 number behind it. So 2 places. So I'm going to go to my answer, and I'm going to go over 2 places and place the decimal. So Letty's dog weighs 123 88/100 ounces. Or pounds. 123 pounds and 88 ounces. That's a heavy dog. All right. Number 31. We knew it was a division problem, and we decided that there's 72 total blocks shaded. 72 out of 100. So 72 hundredths divided by 9. Because there are 9 groups. Okay, so you should have said divide by 9. Remember, you bring up the decimal. 9 doesn't go into 7. 0 times 9 is 0. Oops, sorry. 7 minus 0 is 7. Bring down the 2. 9 will go into 72. How many times? So you're going to say 72. 9 times what is 72? So 8. 8 times 9 is 72. 72 minus 72 is 0. So your answer is 0.08, or 8 hundredths. Okay. All right. Mark has $5.25 in quarters. He spent all of his money on 3 sports drinks. He spent the same amount for each sports drink. Which equation can be used to find the amount of money Mark spent for his soft drinks? Well, there's your equation. $5.25 divided by 3 drinks. Okay, so what was your final answer going to be? We already know the equation. We made the equation. What's your answer going to be? Okay, so you're going to bring your decimal up. 3 will go into 5 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. 5 minus 3 is 2. Bring down the 2. 3 will go into 22 7 times. 7 times 3 is 21. Subtracting, you get 1. Bring down your 5. 3 will go into 15 5 times. So that means $1.75 for each drink. Sorry, you can't see all that. Okay, $1.75 for each drink. Now, if you're looking at this picture, the only way to see 3 groups is this way. That's 1 group, that's 2 groups, and that's 3 groups. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 would be going up and down. But horizontally, if you look, that's 1 group, that's 2 groups, and that's 3 groups. Well, if you count the money, that's 25, 50, 75. That's $1.75. Okay. All right. So that's all we're going to do for today. Tomorrow we will finish the rest of them. So make sure that you have completed them and you're ready to answer the questions. If you have any questions, please send me a message on Clever. Okay.